She had 47 seconds. That's all the time between the moment Emma Diaz locked her car door and the moment she ceased to exist. 47 seconds captured on grainy security footage. 47 seconds that would unravel into 13 years of silence, horror, and impossibility. June 14, 2011. 9:47 p.m. El Paso, Texas. Emma Diaz, 30 years old, Federal Border Patrol agent, daughter, sister, pulls into her apartment complex after a night shift. The security camera watches her park her white Ford Focus in space B14. She grabs her gym bag from the passenger seat, locks the door. The electronic beep echoes in the empty lot. She walks toward the building entrance. 19 steps. The camera loses her for 8 seconds as she passes behind a maintenance dumpster. A blind spot. Just 8 seconds of shadow. When the frame shifts to the next camera angle, she's gone. Her car sits untouched, headlights off, doors locked. Her keys lie on the pavement, reflecting the parking lot lights like tiny fallen stars. Her phone is inside the vehicle. Screen cracked. 14 missed calls by morning. Her apartment door, found unlocked at 6:47 a.m., reveals nothing but emptiness. Her dog whimpering by the food bowl. Her Border Patrol uniform draped over a chair, badge gleaming on the kitchen counter. No scream. No struggle. No blood. No witnesses. Emma Diaz walked into 8 seconds of darkness and vanished for 13 years. What happened in that shadow would become one of the most disturbing cold cases in Texas history. And the answer, when it finally came, would be more horrifying than anyone imagined. Before we go further into this nightmare, tell me, where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments below. And if true crime cases that blur the line between mystery and horror keep you awake at night, hit that subscribe button. Because Emma's story is about to get darker than you can possibly imagine. This isn't a story about a woman who disappeared. This is a story about a woman who survived being erased from existence. And what she endured in those 13 years will haunt you long after this video ends. Emma Gabriela Diaz was born on March 3, 1981, in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, a city that sits across the Rio Grande from El Paso like a mirror image, reflecting everything America promises and everything it fears. She crossed that border every single day of her childhood. Not fleeing. Not hiding. Just living. Her mother, Rosa, cleaned houses on the American side. Her father, deceased when Emma was 7, had been a factory worker. Emma attended school in El Paso, walked home to Juarez, did her homework in 2 languages, and learned early that borders aren't just lines on maps, they're lines through people's lives. She was brilliant. Valedictorian of her high school class. Full scholarship to the University of Texas at El Paso. Degree in criminal justice. Fluent in English and Spanish, with the kind of code-switching ability that made her invisible in both worlds and fully visible in neither. At 26, Emma made a choice that fractured her community. She joined the U.S. Border Patrol. To some, she was a hero, a local woman who'd made it, who'd chosen law and order, who was protecting both sides of the border from cartel violence and human trafficking. To others, she was a traitor, a daughter of Juarez who now wore the uniform of the agency that separated families, detained desperate migrants, and enforced the very border she'd crossed freely as a child. Emma didn't care about the politics. She believed in something simpler, helping people trapped between 2 countries, 2 laws, 2 impossible choices. Her colleagues at the Border Patrol station described her as unshakable, detail-oriented, the agent who noticed everything others missed. She volunteered for night shifts, patrolling the most dangerous corridors where cartel smugglers operated under cover of desert darkness. She had no romantic entanglements. No financial troubles. No known enemies. Her life was stable to the point of monotony. Every Sunday without fail she called her mother. They'd talk for exactly 30 minutes. Rosa updating Emma on family gossip, Emma complaining about sore knees from training or the El Paso heat. Her younger brother, Miguel, idolized her. Called her La Comandante as a joke. She'd roll her eyes but she loved it. The last time Rosa heard Emma's voice, she was complaining about a pulled muscle and debating whether to hike Franklin Mountains that weekend. Nothing seemed wrong. Nothing was wrong. Until 9:47 p.m. on June 14, 2011. When Emma Diaz, the woman who spent her career tracking people who vanished into the desert, became one of them. Let's reconstruct Emma's final day with the kind of forensic precision that would later haunt every investigator who touched this case. June 14, 2011. 7:32 a.m. Emma clocks into the Border Patrol station in East El Paso. Her shift supervisor, Agent Timothy Morales, later tells police she seemed completely normal, tired maybe, but normal. She grabs coffee from the break room. 2 sugars, no cream. Always the same. 10:15 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Emma patrols a 12-mile stretch of border fence near the Rio Grande. Her logbook, later entered into evidence, documents 3 vehicle stops, 2 warnings issued for expired tags, 0 arrests. Routine. Boring. Safe. 3:17 p.m. She stops at a taco truck near the station. The vendor, Luis Hernandez, remembers her vividly. She always ordered the same thing, carne asada tacos, extra salsa verde, no cilantro. She was polite. Always tipped. That day she seemed tired. She mentioned something about her knee hurting from a training run. 6:03 p.m. Emma returns to the station. Files her shift reports. Chats with Agent Rebecca Chin about weekend plans. Rebecca later tells investigators, she said she was thinking about hiking Franklin Mountains on Saturday. Asked if I wanted to join. I said maybe. That was the last conversation I ever had with her. 9:34 p.m. Security footage shows Emma leaving the Border Patrol station. She's wearing civilian clothes, jeans, a gray t-shirt, sneakers. She carries her gym bag over one shoulder. She's alone. She walks to her car, unlocks it, drives out of the parking lot. 9:46 p.m. Traffic cameras catch her Ford Focus heading east on Montana Avenue toward her apartment complex. 9:47 p.m. She arrives, parks, grabs her bag, locks the door. She walks 19 steps toward the building entrance. The security camera loses her for 8 seconds. And Emma Diaz is never seen again. Not for 4,748 days. Not for 113,952 hours. Not for 13 years of silence, searching, and unimaginable horror. Until April 2024. When a woman stumbles into a police station in Monterrey, Mexico, and whispers a name she'd almost forgotten was hers. June 15, 2011. 6:14 a.m. Rosa Diaz calls her daughter's phone. No answer. She calls again. And again. And again. 17 missed calls in 43 minutes. Rosa knows. Mothers always know. She drives to Emma's apartment, her hands shaking so badly she nearly crashes twice. She finds the door unlocked. The dog, a German shepherd named Cisco, whimpering by the empty food bowl, desperate and confused. Emma's uniform is draped over the living room chair like a shed skin. Her badge gleams on the kitchen counter, reflecting the morning light. Rosa calls 911 at 6:47 a.m. El Paso police arrive within 18 minutes. They treat it as a standard welfare check, until they review the security footage. A Border Patrol agent doesn't just vanish. June 15, 2011. 11:30 a.m. The FBI takes jurisdiction. Special Agent Laura Cortez arrives from the El Paso field office. She watches the security footage 17 times in a row, her expression darkening with each replay. Those 8 seconds, she later tells the press. Everything happened in those 8 seconds. June 15, 2011. 2 p.m. Crime scene investigators process Emma's apartment like a murder scene, even though there's no body, no blood, no obvious signs of violence inside. But outside, near the maintenance dumpster where the camera lost Emma, they find something. Tire tracks. Fresh. Deep treads consistent with a large SUV or commercial van. Shoe scuffs in the gravel, quick, dragging patterns that suggest sudden movement. Struggle. Force. A single earring later identified as Emma's, half buried in the dirt. The evidence tells a story investigators don't want to believe. Abduction. June 16, 2011. Emma's phone records are subpoenaed. Nothing suspicious. No threatening calls, no unknown numbers, no pattern of stalking or harassment. Her last outgoing call was to her mother at 3 p.m. the previous day. Routine. Brief. Normal. Her financial records reveal no debts, no large cash withdrawals, no signs of planning to disappear. Her colleagues are interviewed, polygraphed, cleared. Her family is interrogated with the kind of invasive suspicion that turns grief into rage. June 17, 2011. 72 hours missing. The working theory solidifies. Emma Diaz was abducted by force, likely by multiple perpetrators, possibly in retaliation for her work as a Border Patrol agent. But by whom? Cartel hit squad? Random predator? Personal vendetta? Human trafficking ring? The answers would take 13 years. And when they finally came, they would be worse than any theory anyone dared imagine. In 2011, the El Paso Juarez corridor was a war zone disguised as 2 cities. The Juarez Cartel and Sinaloa Cartel were locked in a brutal conflict for control of smuggling routes into the United States. Murder rates in Juarez had reached apocalyptic levels. More than 3,000 deaths in 2010 alone. Bodies hung from bridges as warnings. Journalists were executed in daylight. Police officers were assassinated in their homes. And Border Patrol agents? They were caught directly in the crossfire. Some were corrupted, paid to look the other way during drug shipments. Some were threatened, take the money or we kill your family. Some were killed, murdered as examples, as revenge, as messages carved in blood. FBI investigators couldn't ignore the possibility. Did Emma Diaz see something she wasn't supposed to see? Intercept a shipment? Arrest someone connected to cartel leadership? Her recent case files are examined with microscopic attention. Nothing stands out. No high-profile busts. No cartel informants. No red flags. But rumors spread anyway. In El Paso, whispers circulate, they took her. Cartels don't forgive. She knew too much. In Juarez, different whispers, she chose that job. She arrested people trying to feed their families. Maybe karma caught up. Rosa Diaz receives anonymous messages. Some offer condolences. Others are darker. Your daughter crossed the wrong people. The desert takes what it wants. Stop looking if you want to stay alive. The theory gains media traction. Headlines scream, Border Patrol agent kidnapped, cartel revenge? Nancy Grace dedicates an entire episode to speculation. Former DA agents appear on cable news, describing how cartels abduct federal agents as retaliation. But the FBI can't confirm any of it. No ransom demands arrive. No body is dumped as a warning, and cartels always send warnings. No credible informant connects Emma's disappearance to any specific cartel operation. The theory is compelling, terrifying, plausible. But ultimately it's just speculation. And speculation doesn't bring Emma home. Speculation doesn't answer Rosa's daily question. Is my daughter alive? The cartel theory becomes one more dead end in a case rapidly filling with them. One more shadow in the 8 seconds where Emma Diaz vanished. And the truth, when it finally emerges 13 years later, will prove even darker than the cartels. Emma's disappearance doesn't just haunt El Paso. It fractures it. The city sits on a wound, the Rio Grande cutting through the desert like an open vein, separating two countries, two economies, two worldviews that bleed into each other constantly. When Emma vanished, that wound tore wider. June 25, 2011. Community vigil at San Jacinto Plaza. 300 people gather. Candles flicker in the desert wind. Rosa Diaz stands at a microphone, her voice breaking, please. If anyone knows anything about my daughter, please. She's not just a border agent. She's a sister. A daughter. A human being. The crowd is silent. Respectful. Until someone shouts from the back, she arrested our people. She separated families. Another voice, maybe she got what she deserved. The crowd erupts. Shoving. Screaming. Police have to separate groups. The vigil ends in chaos. July 2011. Bring Emma home posters appear throughout El Paso, on telephone poles and shop windows at the Border Patrol station. Her face, smiling in her uniform, stares out from hundreds of photocopied flyers. But in Juarez, different conversations happen. Quieter. More bitter. She chose that uniform. She knew the risks. My cousin was deported by agents like her. Where were the vigils for him? Emma's case becomes a mirror, reflecting the border's deepest wounds. Loyalty versus law, survival versus justice, us versus them. Miguel Diaz, Emma's younger brother, stops attending family gatherings in Juarez. Too many stares. Too many whispered comments. He moves to California within a year, unable to bear the weight of his sister's ghost and the community's judgment. Rosa stops going to church. Father Delgado reaches out, but she can't forgive God, or her neighbors, for the silence, the suspicion, the cruelty masked as honesty. The city divides itself around Emma's absence like a broken bone that never sets properly. The fracture remains, invisible but permanent. And through it all, Emma remains gone. A ghost haunting both sides of the river. A name becoming a debate instead of a person. A daughter fading into theory, speculation, and 13 years of unanswered prayers. Detective Marco Salinas caught Emma's case on day 3. He was 38 years old. 15-year veteran of El Paso PD. Father of 2 daughters, Sofia 12 and Lucia 9. When he looked at Emma Diaz's photograph, he saw his girls. He couldn't let go. 2011 to 2012, the first year. Marco works Emma's case with obsessive intensity. He interviews 217 people. Neighbors, co-workers, ex-boyfriends, cartel informants, border crossers, gas station attendants, anyone who might have seen anything. Nothing. He drives the route from Emma's workplace to her apartment 47 times, looking for something everyone missed. A security camera, a witness, a pattern. Nothing. He analyzes the 8 seconds of missing footage frame by frame until he can recite every pixel. He brings in FBI video analysts, private forensic experts, even a psychic Rosa hired in desperation. Nothing. The tire tracks near the dumpster? Too common. They match 14,000 vehicles registered in El Paso County alone. The earring? Confirms Emma was there but tells them nothing about who took her. 2013 to 2015. The case goes cold. Officially, Emma Diaz remains an active investigation. Unofficially, the department moves on. Newer cases pile up. Resources redirect. Emma's file gathers dust. But Marco doesn't move on. He keeps Emma's case file on his desk. Not in a drawer. Not in archives. Right there, visible, accusatory. Every Friday without fail he calls Rosa Diaz. Still working it, Mrs. Diaz? Still looking. Rosa's voice gets smaller each time. Thank you, Marco. Thank you. What else is there to say? 2016 to 2020, obsession. Marco's wife, Patricia, begs him to let go. You can't save everyone, Marco. You're drowning in this case. You're not sleeping. You're not here. Please. But he can't stop. In his garage, Marco builds a case board. Photos of Emma. Maps of the border. Timelines. Evidence reports. Dead ends connected by red string like a conspiracy theorist's fever dream. His daughters find him there at 2 a.m. staring at Emma's face. Dad, come inside. In a minute, Mija. But he never comes inside. 2024, 13 years. Marco is 51 now. Graying. Exhausted. Still a detective, though the department reassigned him years ago. Emma's file sits in a cardboard box in his garage, next to the case board he never took down. He hasn't called Rosa in 6 months. What's left to say? Still nothing, Mrs. Diaz. He stares at Emma's photo and whispers, I'm sorry. I failed you. April 14, 2024. 3:17 a.m. Marco's phone rings. FBI Special Agent Laura Cortez, the same agent who took jurisdiction in 2011. Marco. Sit down. Emma Diaz is alive. She's been found in Mexico. Marco collapses against his kitchen counter. 13 years of failure. 13 years of obsession. And Emma Diaz is alive. He sobs into his hands like a man who's been holding his breath underwater and finally, impossibly, breaks the surface. 2012. 1 year missing. Rosa holds a vigil at Emma's memorial, a small wooden cross near the apartment complex dumpster. 50 people attend. Local news covers it. Reporters ask Rosa, do you still have hope? Rosa nods, but her eyes tell a different story. 2013. 2 years missing. The vigil shrinks. 20 people. No news crews. No headlines. Just Rosa, Miguel, a priest, and a handful of neighbors who remember. 2015. 4 years missing. Rosa stands alone at the cross. She lights a candle. Prays the rosary. Cries in the desert heat. No one else comes. Miguel has moved to California. He calls on Emma's birthday, but the conversations are brief, painful. Any news, Mama? No, Mijo. No news. 2016. 5 years missing. The FBI officially closes active investigation. No new leads, they tell Rosa. The case is cold but not forgotten. Rosa knows what that means, abandoned. She keeps Emma's room exactly as it was. Bed made. Border Patrol uniform hanging in the closet like a ghost. Dust gathers on a life frozen in time. Every night, Rosa lights a candle. Every night she prays. Every night she stares at Emma's photo and whispers, where are you, Mija? Are you alive? Are you suffering? Are you thinking of me? The not knowing becomes its own kind of death. 2018. 7 years missing. Rosa stops answering the door. Stops attending family gatherings. She exists in a holding pattern, suspended between hope and grief, unable to move forward because Emma might still be alive, unable to mourn because there's no body, no proof, no end. 2020. 9 years missing. The world locks down for a pandemic. Rosa doesn't notice. Her world has been locked down since 2011. 2022. 11 years missing. Emma's face fades from community memory. New tragedies replace old ones. The city moves on. Rosa doesn't move on. She ages in place. A monument to maternal grief, a living memorial to a daughter who may or may not still exist somewhere in the world. 2024. 13 years missing. Rosa is 64 now. Gray. Thin. Exhausted. She lights the candle. She prays. She waits. And then, impossibly, her phone rings. April 11, 2024. 4:32 p.m. Monterrey, Mexico. A woman walks into Estación Central de Policía, Monterrey's main police station. She's disoriented. Malnourished. Her clothes are filthy torn. Her hair is matted, streaked with premature gray. She has scars on her wrists, deep white years old. She speaks in broken fragments, half English, half Spanish, like someone who's forgotten how to use language. I escaped, she whispers. I was taken. Long time ago. I don't remember. Officer Gabriela Ruiz asks gently, "What's your name?" The woman stares at the floor. I don't know. I think, Emma? Emma something? Officer Ruiz asks more questions. Where are you from? When were you taken? Who took you? The woman's answers are fragmented, confused. But she remembers pieces. A uniform, a badge, a city called El Paso, a desert, the year 2011. Officer Ruiz takes her fingerprints. April 13, 2024. 9:15 a.m. The fingerprint match comes back from the International Criminal Database. Match. Diaz, Emma Gabriela. Missing since June 14, 2011. El Paso, Texas, USA. Officer Ruiz stares at the screen, unable to breathe. This woman, this broken, scarred, barely there woman, is Emma Diaz. Missing for 13 years. Presumed dead by most. And she's alive. April 13, 2024. 11 p.m., El Paso time. FBI Special Agent Laura Cortez receives the call from Monterrey. She drops her coffee mug. It shatters on the floor. Say that again. Emma Diaz. Confirmed by fingerprints and dental records. She's alive. She escaped from a cartel compound in the mountains. She's alive, Agent Cortez. Laura calls Detective Marco Salinas at 3:17 a.m. He answers on the first ring, groggy. Cortez? Marco. Sit down. What? Emma Diaz is alive. Silence. Then a sound Laura will never forget. A grown man sobbing with relief, shock, disbelief, joy, grief all at once. April 14, 2024. 6 a.m. FBI agents arrive at Rosa Diaz's house. She answers the door in her nightgown, confused, terrified. Mrs. Diaz, we need you to sit down. What happened? Is it Emma? Did you find her body? Agent Cortez takes Rosa's hand. Mrs. Diaz. Emma is alive. She's in Mexico. She escaped. She's alive. Rosa stares at her. No, you're wrong. It's been 13 years. She's dead. She has to be dead. Don't do this to me. Don't. It's her, Mrs. Diaz. Fingerprints. DNA. It's Emma. Your daughter is alive. Rosa collapses. 13 years of grief, hope, waiting, praying, all of it crashes down at once. Emma Diaz is alive. But the question that detonates across Texas in the days that follow is darker. Where has she been? Who took her? What did they do to her? And why, after 13 years, did she escape now? April 16, 2024. Secure Medical Facility, El Paso, Texas. Emma Diaz is transported across the border under FBI protection. She's taken to an undisclosed medical facility where trauma specialists, psychologists, and federal agents wait. She barely speaks. Her body tells the story her voice can't. She weighs 98 pounds. She was 135 when she vanished. Her wrists bear deep scars, restraint marks healed poorly, layered over years. She has a fracture in her left forearm that never healed correctly, likely broken and left untreated. Dental examination reveals 2 missing molars knocked out by force. She has a brand, a small burned scar on her left shoulder blade. Investigators recognize it, a cartel marking used to identify property. Human property. She flinches at loud noises. Avoids eye contact. Rocks back and forth when left alone, a self-soothing behavior common in prolonged captivity victims. Preliminary psychological evaluation. Severe PTSD, dissociative disorder, possible Stockholm Syndrome, major depressive disorder. She doesn't ask about her family. Doesn't ask where she is. Doesn't ask what year it is. It's as if part of Emma never came back. April 19, 2024. Rosa is allowed to see her daughter. The FBI prepares her. Mrs. Diaz, Emma is not the person you remember. She's been through severe trauma. She may not recognize you. She may not respond. Please be prepared. Rosa doesn't care. She needs to see her daughter. She walks into the hospital room. Emma is sitting on the bed, staring at the wall. Her hair is clean now, but her eyes are empty, windows into a house with no one home. Rosa whispers, Mija. It's me. It's Mama. Emma doesn't turn. Rosa moves closer. Emma, mi amor. I'm here. I never stopped looking. I never stopped waiting. No response. Rosa reaches for Emma's hand. Emma recoils, sudden, violent, instinctive. She pulls away like Rosa's touch burns. Rosa breaks. She sinks into a chair, sobbing, What did they do to you? What did they do to my baby? Emma finally speaks. Her voice is hollow, distant, mechanical. I don't remember. But she does. She remembers everything. The van. The chloroform. The compound. The chains. The years. The other women. The punishments. The escape. She remembers all of it. She just doesn't know how to say it yet. Doesn't know if saying it will make it more real or less real. Doesn't know if she can survive speaking the horror aloud. So she stares at the wall. And Rosa sits beside her. Mother and daughter, separated by 13 years and an ocean of trauma so deep, neither knows if they'll ever reach each other across it. April 20, 2024. FBI agent Laura Cortez enters Emma's room with a trauma counselor. Emma, we need to know what happened. We need to find the people who did this. Can you help us? Emma doesn't look at her. But after a long silence, she whispers, I'll try. And slowly, painfully, Emma begins to tell the story of her 13-year disappearance. Over the course of 3 weeks, with trauma counselors present, Emma Diaz pieces together her nightmare. June 14, 2011. 9:47 p.m. Emma is walking to her apartment. She hears footsteps behind her. Before she can turn, a cloth presses over her mouth and nose. Chemical smell. Chloroform. Her vision blurs. Her legs give out. She wakes in darkness. Moving. The back of a van. Her hands are zip-tied. Her head pounds. She tries to scream, duct tape over her mouth. The van drives for hours. She loses consciousness multiple times. When the van finally stops, she's dragged out. Desert night. Mountains. She's somewhere in Mexico. She can tell by the landscape, the air, the constellations overhead. She's taken into a compound, concrete walls, armed guards, metal doors. 2011. The ransom. Emma is held in a small cell. She's told she's being ransomed. Your border patrol. Your government will pay. Days pass. Weeks. No ransom comes. The men grow frustrated. Why isn't your government paying? Don't they care about you? Emma doesn't know. She assumes the FBI is working on it, negotiating. She waits. But no rescue comes. 2012 to 2014, captivity. Emma is moved between compounds. Sometimes she's in the mountains. Sometimes near the coast. Sometimes in abandoned buildings in small towns. She's not alone. There are other women. Some trafficked, some kidnapped, some who've been there so long they don't remember their names. Emma is never trafficked sexually. She considers this a mercy, though she knows many of the other women aren't so fortunate. Instead, she's forced to work, cooking, cleaning, serving the cartel members. She tries to escape twice. The first time she makes it 3 miles before they catch her. She's beaten. Locked in a cell for 2 weeks without light. The second time she doesn't even make it off the compound. The punishment is worse. She stops trying. 2015 to 2020, time dissolves. Emma loses track of days, months, years. She stops counting. It's easier that way. The cartel members change. Some are arrested. Some are killed. New ones arrive. She becomes invisible. A fixture. No longer a person, just labor, just property. She forgets what her mother's voice sounds like. Forgets the color of her apartment walls. Forgets what freedom feels like. She survives by erasing herself. Becoming no one. Feeling nothing. 2021 to 2024, the compound deteriorates. The cartel operation becomes sloppy. Security loosens. Rival cartels move into the territory. Violence escalates. Emma notices the guards are distracted, fewer, paranoid. She starts planning again. Slowly. Carefully. April 10, 2024. A rival cartel attacks the compound. Gunfire. Explosions. Chaos. The guards scatter. Emma runs. She runs through the mountains for 2 days. No food. No water. Just running. She stumbles onto a highway. Flags down a truck. The driver, an older man terrified, takes her to Monterrey police. She's free. But freedom is a word that doesn't mean anything anymore. When Emma finishes her account, the FBI agents in the room sit in stunned silence. They have locations, descriptions, details. Within 72 hours, a joint FBI-Mexican federal police operation is launched. 3 cartel compounds are raided. 4 other women are rescued, 3 Mexican nationals, 1 American woman missing since 2014. 17 cartel operatives are arrested. Evidence is seized. Ledgers, communications, mass graves containing remains of dozens of victims who didn't escape. Emma's testimony fractures a trafficking network that's operated for over a decade. But the cartel leadership remains elusive. The men who ordered her abduction are never identified. Justice is incomplete. It always is. May 2024. Rosa brings Emma home. But home doesn't feel like home. Emma sleeps on the floor. She can't bear the softness of a bed. It feels wrong, unsafe, like a trap. She won't eat certain foods. Meat especially. It reminds her of the compound. She wakes screaming most nights. Rosa rushes in, but Emma doesn't recognize her in those moments. She sees threats everywhere. June 2024. Miguel flies in from California. He tries to talk to Emma about childhood memories, family trips to the beach, inside jokes, the time they got lost at the El Paso Zoo. Emma stares through him. "I don't remember," she says. But she does. She just can't reach that version of herself anymore. That Emma, the one who laughed, who hiked mountains, who wore a badge, is gone. Dead. Buried in 13 years of captivity. The woman who came back is someone else entirely. Therapy begins. The family attends sessions together. It's slow, painful, necessary. Emma speaks in fragments. "I don't know how to be a person anymore," she admits one session. "I don't know how to exist outside of surviving." Rosa cries. Miguel cries. Emma doesn't cry. She can't. But slowly, over months, small changes emerge. Emma starts speaking in longer sentences. She eats at the table instead of hiding food in her room. She makes eye contact once during a conversation with Miguel. She smiles, briefly, barely, at a joke Miguel makes about their childhood dog. It's not healing. Not really. But it's something. It's a beginning. The community response. El Paso rallies around the Diaz family. Fundraisers are held for Emma's medical care and therapy. The Border Patrol offers full disability benefits and counseling services. But Emma wants nothing to do with the uniform. She can't even look at it. Detective Marco Salinas visits once. He brings flowers. He can barely speak. "I'm sorry I didn't find you sooner," he says, tears streaming down his face. Emma looks at him, really looks at him, and says quietly, "You never stopped looking. That's what matters." It's the first time she's shown gratitude since returning. Marco leaves, sobbing in his car for 20 minutes. The lingering questions. Who ordered Emma's abduction? Unknown. Why was she specifically targeted? Unknown. Who were the men who grabbed her in those 8 seconds? Never identified. The tire tracks, the ransom demand that never reached the FBI, the bureaucratic failures that left Emma abandoned for 13 years. None of it fully explained. Justice is incomplete. Some wounds don't heal. Some questions don't have answers. But Emma Diaz is alive. After 13 years, 4 months, and 27 days, she's home. And for Rosa, for Miguel, for Marco, that has to be enough. December 2024. Emma Diaz lives with her mother in El Paso. She does not give interviews. She does not appear in public. She exists quietly, learning how to be human again, one day, 1 hour, 1 breath at a time. Rosa keeps the candle lit every night. But now Emma sits beside her. Some nights they talk. Some nights they sit in silence. Both are enough. Miguel visits every month. He's teaching Emma to paint, something new, something without memory attached. Emma's not very good, but she keeps trying. Detective Marco Salinas retired in October 2024. He keeps a photo of Emma on his desk, not the missing poster from 2011, but a new one taken after her return. She's looking at the camera. Not smiling, but looking. Present. There. That's enough for Marco. The case is officially closed. But the story isn't over. Because Emma Diaz is still writing it. One quiet, painful, beautiful day at a time. Final reflection. Emma's case is not unique. Along the US-Mexico border, thousands of people vanish every year, trafficked, murdered, lost to the desert. Most are never found. Most families never get answers. Emma's survival is extraordinary. But it shouldn't have taken 13 years. It shouldn't have required bureaucratic failure, cartel violence, and sheer luck. Her story exposes systemic cracks, interagency failures, jurisdictional tangles, a system more focused on enforcement than rescue. But it also reveals resilience. Hope. The refusal to give up. If you know someone who's missing, don't stop looking. Emma's family didn't. And 13 years later she came home. If this case haunted you the way it haunted me, leave a comment. Share this story. And subscribe, because the truth is always darker, stranger, and more heartbreaking than we imagine.